Welcome to episode 492 of Fourth and Jawn. I'm Gail Saunders here with Evan Hollywood Hearn and Mr. Prime, aka Primo, in the building. Tonight we're just welcoming the class of 2025 to the nest, and I'm very excited about this class. It's people will try to give their grades and what have you, and I think this overall at the end of the day, I left this draft feeling like we got some depth, we got some playmakers. I think we got some people that just really are going to affect this locker room in a great way. We got some Bulldogs, we got some SEC script. Overall, I just think Howie hit the nail on the head in the first round. Obviously, a lot of people were excited at the Eagles draft party. Some people were perplexed because, again, a lot of people don't do any research, and they're like, "Was this a good pick?" And he was a great pick. Obviously, there's an injury, but we'll get into that. Just overall, shout out to all the people that showed up on the last couple of days of the draft. A lot of people gave their takes. It was a good time, long time, but a good time. But shout out to all you fourth and joiners that showed up. But overall, I mean, Ev, how are you feeling about the draft? I mean, you excited?
Geeked, absolutely geeked. I mean, this is a draft that I feel like, especially the first 2 days, and especially the beginning part of day 3, just filling all those holes that we've been talking about filling for months. And I think that we did it with, players that we had talked about, players that we had looked at, with the exception of Jihad Campbell. That kind of came out of left field in the best way possible. I mean, he was a guy that, we talked about on the last pod I was on, that no one anticipated him dropping to us. And so the fact that he lasted all the way into the 30s, and we trade up at 31 to go get him, it was great. And you look at the versatility that he brings, whether he be playing linebacker or lining up as an edge rusher. He seems like he can be productive in all phases of this defense. And so I love that pick, obviously. And then you go and you get yourself that CJ replacement in Makuba the following day. I think that's huge. We've talked about him plenty in the leading up to. I know that we mocked him a few times, Andrew Makuba. So, definitely a guy that we anticipated, kind of hoping the Eagles, him being there when the Eagles are picking. And as the draft just went on, man, I loved the idea of just loading up on depth, getting guys in the trenches that, like, I hate to sound cliche because I know that it's just being talked about by a lot of the Philly people and analysts around here, but we have gotten to a point where anyone that we really can throw, as long as we're just giving Jeff Stoutland volume each year, we'll be able to get something productive out of him. He'll be able to find something in someone that can make them a serviceable, rotational player or even better. So love getting depth with him. Love bringing guys into Vic Fangio's system, especially linebackers. It's exciting, man. So I think the Eagles did a great job of adding depth this year and already building onto a solid foundation. You're muted, Primo.
Sorry, he got me. Gail always catches me off guard. Yeah, just honestly, just letting it still sink in. He wasn't one on my board, but as the night went on and we did pick him, I tried to do a little bit more homework on him. Been watching a lot of videos on him. The whole injury prone thing, definitely nothing I'm really like feeding into. There's players that we've dealt with. There's players that are in this league that came into the off the draft, with injuries, and they ended up panning out pretty good. So I'm confident he'll do the same. Depth was definitely a priority, and I think we handled it very well as the days went on. Going into the later rounds, we stuck with defense, and I'm key on defense. So I think we're definitely good there. Makuba was definitely one that I was really looking into. I mean, you say him filling in the gap with CJ I agree with you, man. I mean, I'm seeing some of his highlights, and I'm seeing the way he defends the ball and plays his position. And I think, even though I did want Starks, but this guy is kind of like directing me into into his play, and I like him a lot. So that's definitely one that stood out. And then the whole Ty Robinson, just seeing some of the videos on how he acted on the sideline, everybody was quick to say he definitely fits here in Philadelphia. So yeah, that was a big defensive tackle pickup that I would like to see go to work. You know, a big white boy defensive
He's a
tackle.
big boy, bro. He's a big
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. Yeah. So again, it was interesting. I see we ended up picking another Georgia, so how we stay into the system, a linebacker. So yeah, I'm ready to see these boys go to work, man. We went in there with the hope that we could go ahead and fill in a lot of these gaps, and that's exactly how we did. And for what I'm hearing, there's still some play for some things to happen. So we'll see what goes on.
I mean, I think a lot of people that are just trying to figure out what Jahad Campbell is. First and foremost, he's actually an Eagle fan. His whole family is Eagle fans. He played close. He was a West Deptford Eagle. It's kind of funny how things work out. I mean, he ended up playing down at IMG Academy. If those of you don't know, that's like one of the most. That's like a college in itself. So I mean, talk about these guys that are pro ready. I mean, you just listen to him talk. I think his swagger. I think he's a guy that's going to come in as a leader, put his head down and work. It's really about the linebacker asterisk with some edge rushing ability. I think he's what you got in him. He's pretty explosive.
Do you see with Josh Sweat leaving him kind of filling that role? I feel like that's kind of like earlier on that I feel like they're going to kind of use him to fill the Sweat role.
I mean, I just think he's going to be situational. I don't think he came in as an edge out of high school. Nick Saban, to get him on the field early, they kind of transformed him. But the fact of the matter of even Micah Parsons was saying how what it takes to move from defensive end to linebacker, you have to know knowledge. Yeah, I mean, he has to be smart, because the fact that he can do a little both, it's just about a matter of does he add extra pounds? I know when he came in, he interviewed with one of our defensive line coaches. He didn't meet with the linebackers coach. That's the guy who interviewed him. But either or. I mean, you just know Fangio's like, this is my guy, and this is how I see it.
Don't you
excited?
Doesn't the transition as far as like going from edge to linebacker, I feel like that usually goes the opposite direction. Like I feel like you usually start as like a linebacker and then end up just kind of honing your skills down to edge rushing. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this is kind of is it out of the ordinary, or am I just thinking about like Michael Parsons as far as like the way he kind of?
I just think if you can find a guy that's a unicorn in your defense. Like not everyone can do it. I mean, you gotta have some mobility, or the way that he moved in the combine. It was like I was like, God damn, this dude is fluid. The way he's moving, the way he once he locks in like a missile, he's there. He blocks a lot of passes too. Got the length as well. It's interesting. I mean,
I know. I'm saying I totally agree. You see the excitement when he got drafted, and he's saying he's ready to go to work. So it all depends on how much work he puts into showing that he could make that transition from linebacker to defensive end, or from defensive end to linebacker. So, he has the skill set to do it, and I don't know, like Michael Parsons. Yeah, Michael Parsons. You know what I mean? And we're talking about Jahad Campbell. He could just come out and make a name for himself, but it all depends.
I'm not saying he can't do that. Go from an edge rusher to a linebacker. He's done that in college. I'm just saying that like I feel like what you need as in your bag as far as a skill set, like you need a bigger bag as a linebacker. You need to be able to drop into coverage, cover that type of thing. Whereas an edge rusher is a just go get the quarterback type of position. That's kind of what I was getting at, is that I feel like it usually goes where you're like, you find a linebacker that's really good at rushing the passer, and then you turn him into an edge rusher. That's what I was saying.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess, trying to get on a Bama squad, he was like, when he got there, Saban was like, well, we're going to put you at the wheel. And he said to himself, he's like, honestly, I didn't even know what the linebacker positions were. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. He was a wide receiver and a linebacker, played a little safety too in high school. They nicknamed him Megatron from his wide receiver days. So, he's very confident in his hands. But I just feel like it's a good fit just in terms of just the locker room, dude. Like, we got another dude that's going to assimilate, and he's already Bama polished. Like, you see the Devontaes, the Hurts, the Landon Dickersons, and this guy's another leader in that space. So you can't feel any more better than having him in our locker room.
Yeah, and it's the SEC script, man. Okay.
Say you, Tim.
You're talking about Campbell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
This right here, this tells me is Howie is genius. And I know they were about to trade up to 22 to go get him, but luckily that trade didn't go through because neither teams reported to the NFL.
Crazy.
But this rate, right? What this tells me, man, is the versatility. Like the 3 picks that we're going to talk about with Campbell, was it Andrew and Ty Robinson? It's all versatile. It's all like made the next man step up and fill the roles that the players that just bounced up out of here got them, and kudos to them getting their money. But this train is still moving. We're going for a repeat. Yes, and I said it. We're going for a repeat. But I love this thing, bro.
You know what else those guys all have in common too? That just jumps off the page at me. They play with violence. I love it.
That's what the Eagles did.
Aggressive players.
And that's what they did in the first. That's what they did in the first 3 rounds. They just went, "Hey, you love to hit? Do you love throwing your head in a brick wall? You're an Eagle." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I love.
But you think about adding that kind of energy in with guys like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. You know what I mean? Like, they are just going to explode these. They're going to be like C4 to the what's it called, the offensive lines.
Right.
It's amazing. A lot of the analysts, like, the rich get richer. I saw many times out here hoping before the draft, hopefully the Eagles don't get their hands on Campbell, and we did. That pick right there, I just felt like, I was like, man, I feel so.
You're not the only person. Michael Parsons did too. Michael Parsons felt a certain way too.
It's funny. Michael Parsons was on the Bleacher Report live draft, and then he had Slay there, and Slay was right next to him, basically saying he said Jahad Campbell's that's going to be the guy. Mm-hmm. So then they went and picked him. The talk is, we just have to be real with it. There's years ago, not that far long ago, I was sitting in a state of euphoria as we draft Nakobe Dean, right? Here we are, still supporting, still love what Nakobe is, but we can say he's been injured a lot. And he's coming back from a really a tough injury. What does this mean? When you see this move, what does this mean in your heads about Nakobe Dean?
Go ahead, Prime.
I was going to say, I wouldn't completely shut the door on Nakobe Dean. Again, let's just call it what it is. We're worrying about depth. So these guys are going to get their playing time in, and it all depends on how well they do it. So if Nakobe rides it out and he plays well, there's a possibility Jahad, is going to sit there and evaluate and watch and learn. You know what I mean? And then if not, if it doesn't go well for Nakobe, then Jahan will go ahead and get his play time in. So I mean, like that's how I look at it. I'm not going to go ahead and say that Nakobe Dean is completely done. Nah, I still got faith in him, and I think he's going to come back.
I'm speaking. What about long term? Like, do you see a second contract with Nakobe?
To me, this is feeling very reminiscent to the Avante Maddox situation of last year. Avante Maddox, we end up getting a guy. We were already kind of iffy on. We didn't know what Avante's future was going to look like. He's had the injury history, and then we go and get Cooper DeJean, and Cooper DeJean ends up coming in after he returns from his injury in the beginning of the year, and he fit like a glove, and it was a perfect fit. But I'll tell you what. I remember Avante Maddox having a great game-saving play in the Super Bowl. I shouldn't say game-saving, but a great play in the Super Bowl. He stepped up when called upon. So I hope that Nakobe Dean, if I'm reading the tea leaves, he's going to be. They're looking to use him more in a depth capacity, but that doesn't mean that he can't still contribute. Obviously. To this defense. There's going to be guys that get injured and all that sort of stuff.
And I don't know if I don't know if any of us could really answer that question about a second contract, Gil. I mean, like, it's the system that we're used to. Like, is Howie's about giving people chances. He's giving Avante chances. He's getting Dallas chances. Who's to say he's not going to give Nakobe a chance? I mean, Nakobe is still on his rookie contract, correct? You know what I mean? So, like, there's still a possibility. So no, I don't know, but I really hope that it's fair, and I'm confident to say that about our GM. He's going to be fair to these players.
Shout out to John. Shout out to John, who's also on the stream this weekend. But Munden. Also, the funny thing is, he was Nakobe's replacement down in Georgia. He's a guy who's solid in coverage. He was a 5-star recruit. The fact that we brought in another linebacker, I think people were kind of all right. We got another linebacker in the mix. I think he was down at the Senior Bowl as well. I think he sees himself as a solid player to come in here. It's funny, during the pre-draft process, every interview that he did, a lot of people were like, "Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny if you end up in Philadelphia?" He's like, "That would be a dream scenario for me." And then here he lands in Philadelphia, and it's a perfect situation. It's that it's just you add him into the mix. It's but before we get to Munden, Makuba, a lot of us had Makuba in a lot of our mocks. He was in probably like 85% of our mocks, 90% of our mocks. He might have went a little earlier than we expected. I think some guys were expecting defense interior. The pick right after we picked Makuba, Darius Alexander went to the Giants. I know a lot of people were expecting maybe that the Eagles might be in on him. Obviously, we made fun of his age more than we do Evan's age. But Makuba,
I didn't bring it up.
Did you feel like Makuba was? Were you cool Makuba at the back end of the second, third, basically the third? Were you cool with that?
For sure. I mean, going into this draft, the one thing we repeatedly said is that safety is one of those positions. Safety is a position that we were eyeing up day one or day two. We wanted to walk away with a safety, either in the first or second day. And that's exactly what we ended up doing. And I think Andrew Makuba, we talked about how physical he plays. I think he is going to be a good complement next to Reed Blankenship. Obviously, probably going to have growing pains. He's a rookie. I think it'd be naive to sit here and believe that all these rookies are just going to step in here and be seamless in their transition to the NFL. But with the guidance of Vic Fangio and with the just overall youth movement that we have, all these guys growing together, I think it's going to be great, man. It's going to be like, isn't it crazy to think that isn't Zach Vaughn is 27 years old as the old elder statesman in this defensive group? That's insane to think about. Like that is essentially you got guys that are getting drafted at what, like 25 years old. This is just like post college team. You know what I mean? Like it's a really young team.
And the college game is just completely different from how it was back in the day. Like I said,
it's a more pro style game.
Yeah, but I admitted to you guys, a few weeks back, like I didn't even know nothing about this 5-year, 6-year like system. Like I was all about 4 years and you're out.
I think has it always been like that, or did COVID just create this monster?
Yeah, the COVID. A lot of guys had the COVID year. I mean, this is what it's done with the whole draft. It's added like with the extra COVID year, and then add the NIL into this whole mix. Like some players are like, I'll stay another year to get like more money.
Yeah, that's exactly what Lil Manny is about to do. Like he's like, bro, I'm making $8 million right now a year. Why would I go to the league? I'm gonna sit back here and just chill in Texas. But to answer your question though, when I played ball, and we had guys that were like 26, 27 years old still on the team, and what they would do is they would transfer, then they would hit the portal, and then they would medical red shirt, freshman red shirt. So there's a lot of stipulations that you can go through it and stuff like that.
Don't people ever want to get the hell out of college?
That's what but I mean,
that's fun. No.
Much fun. I don't know. Like,
no. First of all, when you're an athlete and you're in college, unlimited. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like it's it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like you got note takers, you get the whole shebang, right? And you're an athlete, so everything is guided for you to be on the court, be on the field. Like I didn't have a job for like after I graduated high school, I didn't have a job forever. I cherish those moments.
Now they got rocking whips. They're talking about their 4.150s. I'm like, bro, this is a shout out to my guy Chris Malley. He was talking about the whole NIL space and how like it's just crazy how like you gotta like, well, I gotta get your father a boat because he wants to be I gotta get the father a boat, and then I gotta get you a deal from some fishing company. It's a whole different game.
But it's been happening. This has been happening for years. Like I was 19 years old driving a brand new Altima, but Altima's in 2004 when Altimas came out. And it wasn't in my name, it was my mama's name. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you get to go to schools, like or you make a parents at a kid's birthday party. That's money. You know what I'm saying? Because they making money off of you at the end of the day.
We had players in college selling autographs for tattoos, and that was a big it was a big drama. It's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. So talking about Andrew Makuba, he basically, it was mentioned in some of the comments, like he actually makes this role as a potential slot corner, as depth, and then potential, a safety. It took the thing with his career. It took him a little bit longer. He at Clemson, he played more slot, and then he said, due to the scheme, that's where he was kind of like, the scheme is kind of what held me back. He's transferred. He was a Texas. I grew up in Texas, and the fact that he went back for that last year, he exploded on this. Had a great year and showed off that ability, but he played as a safety. So he was like more excited about the situation he was in because he was like, now I can like showcase my talents. He had an interesting.
I have a question for you, Gil, since you're on this subject. Do you feel like there was something weird about what he said about why he left? He said that they weren't challenging enough and stuff like that, or is that part of the scheme in the system?
Well, I think, you're talking about production. He's trying to
get only had one interception.
He's trying to get drafted, and then it's like he's got to go somewhere where he can be showcased the right way. So I feel
that's
like
the ability.
In that situation, like he gets 5 interceptions in his last year.
I personally. I personally wouldn't. I think he's going to play safety primarily. And I'm just going to bank that on the fact that, I mean, we talked about earlier, the whole transition from linebacker to edge rusher and vice versa. Vic Fangio, in his short Eagles history, has been able to recognize the strengths in players outside their position. Zach Bond came here as a backup edge rusher and a special teamer from the Saints. He was playing edge. And then Vic Fangio put him in there at linebacker because he saw what traits he had, what he was going to be more effective as a linebacker. And now he's a first team all linebacker. I think that if Makuba comes in here during training camp, you're going to see the skill set that he has to offer. And Vic Fangio is going to make the most of that. And I think that in their pre-draft process, they probably considered all that. And that to me makes sense as to why he'd be safety.
Now, shout out to Justin Malo, who we had from the Draft Network. Had a check out his interviews. He's got interviews for all the prospects, over 200 plus. A lot of interviews that no one else has. But he has one with Makuba. He said instincts are obviously a big part of your game. That's where the 5 interceptions came from. The ball wasn't bouncing your way at Clemson. Takeaways came in bunches for you at Texas. Why was that? So Makuba says that was mostly scheme related, where I was playing at the time. I spent the majority of my reps playing the nickel spot. I was in the slot playing man coverage. I feel like I was one of the best defenders playing the nickel at the time. It gave me less opportunities to make plays on the ball, though. At Texas, I was playing in the deep part of the field. I was diagnosing how offenses were trying to attack us. There were a lot of ways for me to float around, find the ball, and be effective. I made plays. What does that make you think of? Floating around, making plays.
CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
I will say this though: if you guys get a chance, go back and look at some film on him in the ball game against Arizona State. Like, he played his ass off. He was the reason why Texas won. He got the game-winning interception. Dude, like, he was around the football all the time. So go check him out. Versatility is basically what I see, and interchangeable. What I do find kind of weird, or maybe it's a coincidence, that none of these guys that we picked are on that 30 list. I don't know about you guys. Like, was it like to throw somebody off or somebody in the division? I don't know. But that to me is like, hey, we over here playing chess, y'all playing checkers. This is what we gonna give y'all. You know what I mean?
Well, he did. Makuba did have a formal meeting at the combine. So there's way, and he was also at the Senior Bowl. Like, some people will only report 30 visits, but then you have to look at, did they attend the pro day? Did they get a Senior Bowl meeting, which a lot of them do? Did they get informal or informal meeting at the combine? So I think this. I love this pick. I love this pick.
And I got to be honest with you, Tim. I mean, I don't know how to play chess, and then when somebody tries to teach me how to play chess, I'm lost. Watching Evan play chess in New Orleans, I was rooting for him, but I didn't know what the hell he was doing. But so with that being said, I'm gonna be one to tell you that, as soon as this draft started and some of the picks that we were going with, again, I was lost. I was like, right. I guess this was, the curveball that Howie was throwing to the other 31 teams. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you think that I'm going that route, but this is what I'm actually doing. So I like it. You know what I mean?
Like zigging.
I mean, the top 30 visits. The top 30 visits have been something that I feel like we've looked at in previous years, and it's been mostly guys that were top 30 visits. So the fact that it was 0 this time, I don't know. It's weird. Do I think they were trying to throw teams off? I mean, I feel like it'd be a waste of a meeting to do that. No, I don't know.
But it's information gathering. Like, it's not just always like when I used to do this a long time ago. The reason why I would just look at the position sometimes. Mm-hmm. They looked at Jalen Reed, they looked at Winston from Pennsylvania. From Penn State. Sometimes look at the position. Like, that'll tell you what position they're looking at. Like, I think all of us in our mocks, we had everything how they mapped it out. Like, we talked about we talked about getting one linebacker, and then we talked about getting developmental one center, right? And we also talked about closing out every mock with trench, developmental tackle. I think, and then when they were on the board, when my guy Jalen Travers was on the board, who trades up? The Colts, and they get Jalen Travers. Who's in there? Steichen. And what happens? Eagles move back. And I'm like, why'd they move back? I'm like, did they just take their guy? And then the way that we finished that draft with the two tackles, I mean, Cameron Williams, I've been talking about him all season. I'm like, bro, I'm like, great. We got him in the 6th round.
It's great
Love
value,
it.
man. And that's
great value.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like a lot of the day 3 is just more guys that just kind of slip through the cracks, like Mondin and all. Not guys I would expect, or a lot of people are expecting to be there late on day 3.
I think a lot of it though was the position of where the Eagles were in the draft. It was just like, man, like the first round players fell, the second round players fell, but then it would be like 2 teams that jump ahead of the Eagles and pick, I think, who they wanted to pick, where they wanted to go. So it had to reroute the whole situation. But they still came out with great picks, in my opinion. But I think it's just the position of the draft.
Do you buy that the Eagles are going to take Shador at 145 and that the Browns traded up ahead of them?
I did.
I do think they will work. I mean, because
I think they will.
Really? Y'all really think they were going to go after Sanders?
Well, at that point,
no.
At that point,
think about it. Think about it.
I'm not thinking about it.
Because
let me explain it to you. The reason why is because the Eagles are always looking at the value of the pick, and they're always looking at a player to develop in the long run. It's not about this year; it's about the years going down the road. This is the same thing that we did with Carson Wentz. We gave him $30-something million, and in the next following summer, we draft Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a it's always not thinking about the moment, it's thinking about the future. And I think that's where they're always at with Howie.
And what did I say prior to the draft? I said that I mentioned how I wouldn't mind viewing Tanner McKee as disposable, just because all he did was develop during the offseason, just like any player in a good system would, in this Eagles system would, and then he performed well in a regular season game in an elite offense that was set up for him to succeed. And I think that you can do the same sort of thing each year with a quarterback on day 3, and then you end up flipping that quarterback value for picks in the future. I just think it's how we talked about a QB factory years ago. That's the idea. Is you're increasing the value of the draft picks. If you got Shador Sanders, and then he showed out to be a pretty solid player, he was by a lot of people valued as a 1st-round talent. If he balls out in the preseason for the Eagles and then maybe steps in a couple games for Jalen Hurts, you could trade him next year for a 2nd-round pick.
There you go.
I was going to say, go ahead.
Real quick, where was the scenario at? Because I walked away. I try to hang in there as much as I can to see Sanders get picked finally, but it never happened. I walk away, I come back, I see the Browns picked him. I'm like, okay, I wasted my time and I missed out on the day. But what was the scenario? Like, where were we at? That
we were the next pick. The Browns traded ahead of us.
Yeah.
Okay. So they didn't trade with us. They
traded to the pick before.
Now, whoever
the Colts, right?
Whoever the people that are picking, like again, Colts, Steichen knows how he thinks exactly. Barry, mentored under Howie, knows exactly how Howie thinks. I felt like the Eagles were going to draft him at that point because value-wise, you're just really just throwing someone into the mix. I feel like I do think the whole I'm really just we got to talk about it, but the whole Shador Sanders shit was like annoying as hell because there's so many other prospects in this got drafted on that day, and it was special, and we had to talk about Shador. Like,
yeah.
I seen so many prospects that go to these. This is why these prospects go to these all-star games to make themselves some money. You see the North Dakota offensive lineman go and dominate SEC linemen, gets drafted in the first round. You see all these, the Isaac Tesla, bro, got drafted in the third round. Like you don't see, like, it's about these matchups. Like, you go and have like a crazy Senior Bowl, then you ball out, you become a top. Carson Wentz went to the Senior Bowl, balled out, got himself drafted early. Like, the fact that he didn't go to any of these all-star games, he went and got his numbers at the
retired.
His numbers at the East West Shrine, and interview with some people down there, didn't perform, and then you don't even work out at the combine, like, dog. Like, what are you telling?
But you can't really blame that on him himself. Like, you have a team around you that lets you.
He's an adult, man.
Nah, bro. Nah, you have a team. You have a team. You have a team. But your team will tell you, hey, you're not going to do this.
You are a grown-ass man. You got to compete. You can't. He's not his father, dog. He's not his father.
Understood that. But what I'm telling you is he's listening to the people around him. That's what I'm telling you. This is the same thing we went through with Manny. But nobody wants to bring that up. Manny got drafted to the San Diego Chargers. Dog, he didn't even want to pick up the jersey to take a picture with it. But nobody even brings that up. Things like that. Like, these guys, the individuals, and I definitely agree with you guys.
You don't think Shador Sanders had every opportunity to do interviews? You think he rubbed people the wrong way? Yes.
I'm pretty sure he did. But like, he's not the only player that's done that. That's what I'm saying.
Nobody's saying he is. He's the player that did it this year, and he was. It was the reason it's being talked about so much is because of the build up to the draft. There was this anticipation, and then during exactly. Well, the only reason, it's beside the point. I think that it was that entire Shador Sanders thing was crazy, and I gave you that explanation about giving, just trying to increase the value in the draft. And I'm still sitting here, even after explaining it myself. I struggle to believe that the Eagles, unless Howie Roseman has the biggest balls in the history of man, going through the Carson Wentz thing that had happened before, to risk that circus coming to town, that would ultimately be a circus with Deion and Shador Sanders coming to town. Why is it worth it after winning the Super Bowl?
That's fifth round.
Understood.
I get that it's about. I totally get it for anybody else, because you're bringing a circus to town. If you're bringing in Kyle McCord, who the hell is
the one thing is, like, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts just won us the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
his position is locked. There's no question. And also, the way Jalen Hurts is built, Jalen Hurts, I guarantee you that Shador Sanders is not going to make him sweat.
Jalen Hurts did just win us the Super Bowl. Jalen
What's
Hurts
that?
did just win us a Super Bowl.
So why would he make that? Why would he make him sweat?
He would sweat exactly because Nick Foles won us the Super Bowl, and Carson Wentz was locked in by Eagles Nation as the guy.
Whoa! Time out. Whoa.
Are you good? Don't rewrite history. Don't rewrite history. That's exactly what happened.
Way different.
We're in the fifth round.
It's way different.
We're in the fifth round.
Prime, you with me here?
I'm with you. I'm so with you.
Yeah.
If you drafted Shador in the second round, you're like, okay.
But that's not what happened.
But that's definitely not what happened.
And this is why it's okay in the fifth round. We also drafted Matt Barkley when he slipped.
I'm not saying that Shador Sanders.
This is true. We drafted Matt Barkley in the fourth round when he was falling in the draft. Matt Barkley was supposed to be top first round QB, and we drafted Matt Barkley in the fourth round just to.
I feel like you're refusing to acknowledge a big part of this. Matt Barkley's dad wasn't a big feature that was going to bring the circus to town. I understand Shador Sanders is a better value than fifth round. 100% agreement there. I think that talent-wise, Shedeur Sanders, you are getting your money's worth out of drafting him in the 5th round. But what you're not getting your money's worth is we've built a culture here. And you bring a circus to town that destroys the culture. Yeah, exactly.
You just said it. The culture here is so strong that you can allow for that situation to happen because he's not part of the equation. He's at that point, he's just depth. And
I just look at that value. That's what I'm with you, Gil. I just look at it as value.
I'm just so glad it didn't happen. So let's move on.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they would have took him. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think so.
Hey,
different argument, but I don't think so.
I think they would have. I mean, did you hear?
I think it's possible that they would have. I just think it would have been a mistake.
Did you hear Howie's answer?
Well,
when I asked him, that's what I'm saying. Look, listen to Howie's
answer.
Yeah,
listen to it. Yeah, listen to it.
And then you'll. He pretty much was like, we're gonna move forward. You don't really want to. But again, at the end of the day, I think the culture is so strong here that I love that every single piece that we're bringing in is solid. And one of the other picks that we were talking about, Ty Robinson, he's a guy that was getting hyped up by Cam Jurgens. Cam Jurgens was giving him a lot of love during the pre-draft process. I think another guy that I saw down at the Senior Bowl, he did his thing. You can go check out Scott Kennedy's cut-ups from the Senior Bowl. You'll see Ty Robinson pop, and I think that demeanor, I think adding him, I think he's got a level of spice that I think.
I got a question for this one.
You got the grit, man. I like what he brings to the table. Did you guys like that pick?
I got a question on this one. I can't wait. I can't wait to ask.
What's your question?
Yeah, just ask.
My question is, what does his age bother you?
I mean, not really. If he's a rotational guy, 23? He's 23 years old.
23?
He'll be 24 here soon. I believe. I'll have to double check. But that's what I was looking at. I was like, wow, I didn't know he was 23. But I personally do love this pick because this is somebody that can play all 3 positions in the interior D line. Mm-hmm. So I love this pick. Versatility, bro. Like Big Fangio, let's go.
He's like a bull in a china shop, man. And like, I mean, I get that he's a little bit old for coming out of college, but ultimately I'm viewing it as like if we're adding a rotational piece here, that's what I view him as. I view him as Milton Williams' replacement. And so that's what it is. If he ends up performing well in his rookie deal, then we proceed forward accordingly with his contract. But where it stands right now, I think he is a great rotational piece to fill the void that Milton Williams left.
Yeah, I think really good value. I think like Tim said, the fact that he can play multiple positions, that's like right there. It's like he's versatile. He ran the fastest 40 time out of all the DTs at the combine. Definitely. Yeah, I just feel like, he has a great story. His dad, I mean, it's a sad story that his dad passed away when he was like 10 years old. Kind of does everything that he's doing now for his dad. When his stepfather and one of his friends was a coach in the NFL. So he's been his the guy that was mentoring him is a coach in the NFL now. So the fact that he's had that kind of mentorship around him since he was a kid, since he was 10, he's been locked in. It's pretty crazy. His father, who passed away, was a star basketball player, Chevron State Eagles. Also was a star football player in Colorado. Also named the Eagles. So I think it's rightfully awesome that he gets drafted to the Eagles. So I think I really want to see what he brings to the table. I'm really excited to see him.
You just think about like mismatches though. Like you put him in between Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter or Jalen Carter, or I'm sorry, Jordan Davis in the middle. No matter how you want to do it, like that's 3 guys that probably can't ride an elevator together, man. That's a big boy.
It's like you know, you see Mario Brothers, they rock the King Koopas.
It's just too much.
Nah, it's definitely the truth. I mean, the guy's got mad power, and then like the way he jumps off the line is ridiculous. I mean, seeing some of the highlights. Yeah, he's going to definitely fill in the gap that we're losing on Milton. Losing out on Milton Williams.
And what's crazy is Majomo is going to be stepping in that Milton role. And
that's another.
Todd Robinson. I don't even know. It's NASCAR packages, zero technique. And with Jordan Davis, try to run on this D line. Listen. And I ain't gonna even front. I'll be the first one. Last year for 24-25 season, I was kind of like, yo, this D line, I don't know. But then the young bulls stepped up, and I was like, and through the playoffs, they just got better and better and better. Seeing this right now, I'm just like, yo, ready for the D-line. I'm ready for this D-line to eat.
And you're exactly right in talking about like the other guy. Like this isn't the first draft I think that we've done well on. I mean, obviously, it's still to be determined on what this draft is. They haven't stepped foot on the field yet. We don't even know their jersey numbers yet. But Howie Roseman has done a good job in recent years with this draft, and it's not just about these shiny new toys that we got on the past few days. It's about the development of year 2, year 3 in these guys that Howie drafted in these killer drafts in years past. So the team is shaping up, and the fact that we've got so many guys on rookie deals still that are part of that are starters, like doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Jude says, I listened to a lot of these interviews and they are sounding like really nice kids, keeping with the culture for sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of good prospects, man. A lot of good storylines. I mean, this pick to me was the most, because it was like one of the, again, I think it was in the same ilk of a lot of our drafts where we were looking for like a back end corner to draft. And I was saying, I had my eyes on Jacob Parrish later as a potential slot with some outside versatility, and then they went with Mac McMillan. So I was pretty, because I was like, again, I was like, oh, I didn't have him on my bingo card. Mac McWilliams, UCF. He actually transferred from UAB. But I think he's a guy that he when he spoke with Justin Melo from Draft Network, he said that a lot of the teams were coming at him to be a slot corner. So if there's people I think Big Fish Little Boat said, "What's up with all the slot corners in here?" And he asked about Coop, and we talked about that on draft day. You guys are totally out of the idea of moving Coop at some point to outside.
Yeah, I don't want it.
Thank you.
I am not. To be honest with you, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not sitting here down. I would like to see this preseason what it looks like. Honestly, I would like to see during training camp how Coop fares on the outside. I mean, he has done a tremendous job, no matter where he has been asked to play so far. So, I mean, where it stands right now, I don't want in a ideal world to move anybody around when, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I'm still sitting here with Darius Slay gone, and I'm like, who's going to play opposite of Quinyon? Someone's got to play it. And Coop is a damn good corner, man. So I want to see what it would look like. Since we're sitting here post draft, we didn't get, unless Mac McWilliams or Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, one of these guys can step up. It's open competition for that spot, man.
That other side is going to be Adoree Jackson. Like, it is what it is.
Well, I'm thinking, say, when I thought about it when I first with the Jacob Parrish idea of bringing him in, like, because Adoree Jackson 1-year deal, Eli Ricks, pretty much, he's a borderline practice squad guy. Yeah. Keely Ringo, are you giving Keely Ringo a deal? So if like
I mean, he
Cooper,
hasn't. You might be able to keep him for the cheap if you let it. Like he hasn't done much production wise, so like he's not like he's going to be able to demand a king's ransom.
Do you think that Keely Ringo is going to get the first shot of basically telling them that this is my spot, or do you think it's going to be the competition, iron sharpens iron, is going to be between Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson?
It's definitely going to be the competition. I'm never going to be one to go ahead and say that Ringo's going to go ahead and get an automatic spot. Nah,
Right.
I watched.
We gave him a new number. There,
I watched Devin White walk out of here with his tail between his legs because he lost his spot to Nakobe Dean, even though he was supposed to be the guy coming here from Tampa Bay. Vic Fangio is going to give it to the guy that earns the position. So,
and that's where I'm at. I'm like, but that I think long term, you're only paying Cooper and you're only paying Quignon because that once they both get paid. Talking about you're gonna like, are you playing him as a slot corner or are you paying him as an outside corner? Because there's difference in money there.
And you gotta think about JC getting paid too. Jalen Carter's about to break bank.
Yeah, so I feel like Cooper's like, I'm gonna practice Patrick Surtain out here and be an outside corner. So you can pay me like an outside corner. You're not gonna pay me like a slot. So if I'm his camp, I'm like, get your ass on the outside as fast as you can.
But if Cooper DeJean is capable, like I get that, like we're comfortable with him in the slot, but we are yet to see him at the pro level on the outside. If he does well with it, I'm with it, bro. I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm always just thinking long term, really, with that situation. Like again, the next move here with Smile Munden. I think this is an actual play where, he put him on special teams. He's a coverage linebacker. He's got like a 5-star background. He's a Georgia Bulldog. He's followed. He said he models is one of the guys that he follows the most and tries to model his game after. I think Eb, you would like this. JOK is his guy. He studies a lot of JOK from Cleveland. But then he said he studies Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. Those are the guys that, those are his guys. So if the fact is, if he gets brought in here to replace the guy that he replaced in Georgia, it would be kind of not fitting, but it would be like, okay, this is, and it's funny how all these Georgia Bulldogs are like, Philly is their destination spot right now.
Dude, it really is. I mean, Georgia and Alabama. I mean, it's become the spot for them to go to. Munden is a guy that I think ends up being one of the most undertalked picks in this Eagles draft. I really, really like Munden. I think that we look at the types of players that we've lost in this Eagles defense. And I'm not sure if you guys remember during the Eagles playoff run, but one of the guys that I was championing the whole time, I loved me some Oren Burks, bro. He stepped up, and that I think is not something that the depth at linebacker that we had it last year. I don't think it's any coincidence as to why we had the success that we did. And so just losing out on a guy like Oren Burks who can step up when someone gets injured and still play at a high level, I think Munden is one of those guys that can step in and really surprise people. And play linebacker, fill in. I think he's going to really compete for to be involved in this defense.
Yeah, 3-year starter in Georgia, and he played in Kirby Smart's hybrid front seven. Sounds like a perfect fit. Although he did have like Nakobe had some. This is where you get into where he's fallen a little bit further down, missed 4 games as a senior with a foot injury, a left foot injury in 2023 spring practices. He had to get surgery in that foot. He missed the 2022 spring practices because of a labrum surgery that required a meniscus cleanup, and he missed most of his senior year of high school. A linebacker with a shoulder injury. So
Sound familiar?
yeah, sound familiar.
Well, don't say Howie Roseman don't got a type.
I mean, the linebackers are going to get these shoulder injuries. It's just part of this. Part of the. I mean, Georgia Nolan Smith. Can we keep it going down the list? Moving right along. This pick right here. This is we wanted a developmental center. Drew Kendall. The more I looked into his background, I was like, dog. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, he only played center at he wasn't. He doesn't have positional versatility on paper because he hasn't had to do it. But he says that he can do it. The fact that he followed his father's footsteps, like literally went to Boston College, just like his father. His father was a 13-year vet in the NFL. By the time he was in high school, his dad was retired and literally coached him all the way through it. Top recruit in Massachusetts. I feel like he just, I mean, the Boston College kids are all pretty pro ready. A lot of those linemen, you can name a lot of linemen that come from BC that have been pretty good. But what were your feelings about Drew Kendall?
This is somebody that. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man.
With Drew Kendall, I feel like this is somebody that we really need a backup center because we couldn't have Landon Dickerson hopping along and going to center and then going back to guard, going back to center, going back to guard. So this is that piece. I love it. Go ahead and develop it in University of Statland, and I really do like this pick. And then on top of that, on top of that, with Juergens' back injury in the playoffs, that was a little bit concerning. But he gutted it out, strong dude. But I like this piece because it's depth.
I'm gonna be honest with you. 6'4" center, bro. It's pretty fucking tall.
That's what we like. We like big guys over here.
I like big guys too, but traditionally, I mean, center. That's pretty.
It's kind of unheard of.
Well, I thought he was 6'2". I might be mistaken though. But regardless of the fact, I mean, looking at him at 6'4", 308, I know he doesn't have history of playing anything other than center. But that's the frame of a guy I think that should be able to play guard at the NFL level. And you throw him in Jeff Stoutland's Stoutland University. Who knows? I mean, he obviously sees something that he likes. And he's got the pedigree with his dad playing in the league. So
the thing is,
I think
he wanted
to flyer on.
When he came out to Boston College, he was, as a freshman, he wanted to start. So they were like, if you come here, you'll start earlier. So
you start at center.
He started as a freshman and hasn't looked back.
That's impressive.
And the fact is, he had an extra year to play. So I was like, dude, he could have come back for another year. So he came out. He's like, nah, I'm gonna go to the league. So pretty interesting. Moving right along. This pick. This is kind of like, here we go. How he's just drafting people who love the Eagles and
South Jersey.
He had his draft party out here in Jersey. But Kyle McCord,
Mount Laurel.
He's went to St. Joe's as well. So I think how about he was captains with Jeremiah Toretto Jr. and Marvin Harrison Jr. and him. That's crazy.
Dude, what is up with like all these guys that follow their dad's footsteps? That's super dope. But damn, what's going on? We're getting all the young bulls, second generation players.
Well, I mean, I think
that's natural. You gotta expect it.
Well,
I think it's dope.
Well, I think the way that how he's drafting, the way that they mentioned about it, it's like the players that want to, who live that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Like these guys, like, bro, they've all seen their fathers, like, they come.
That's what it is. Yeah, for sure. Because you grew up idolizing your dad, so I just think it's super dope that they followed their father's footsteps.
Yeah.
Shout out to locals. I mean, I think Kyle McCord, again, in this round where he got drafted, this is where you draft developmental QB. But we're, at this point.
I mean, what round did we get McKee? We got McKee in like the 6th round, didn't we?
I think it's the 6th round.
It's the same
was
thing.
6th pick, pick 181 in the 6th round.
Prediction: McCord's gonna ball out, do well in the preseason, and everybody's gonna get all hot and bothered about McCord.
He's gonna be the.
You know what? You know what? He's a solid backup.
He's gonna be the
preseason. The
preseason.
conversation's gonna be. It's the same. It's deja vu, man.
He's a local man. He's
preseason
a
hero. Preseason hero.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. I know Kyler said Ev, loving the hat. Got the same one. So smooth. Connor Williams, a great pickup.
I think he meant Cameron Williams.
Yeah, Cameron Williams picked up. Yeah, we're on our way to Cameron. But right before that, we ended up picking Miles Hinton. Now, again, we just talked about it, right?
More depth.
We just talked about it, right? In the trade where, and again, we're talking the whole situation of John Elway telling a team, I am not playing for you. So I don't care if you do draft me, but you got to have fucking talent like John Elway. So he says, I am not playing for you, Baltimore. So you can draft me or whatever. I am not playing. I will sit out. I'll play with the Yankees. That's how good Elway was. So then the trade happens. They trade for Miles Hinton's dad. So Miles Hinton's dad played. He was in part of that trade. He ends up getting traded to the Colts and has a phenomenal career. And he's like the Ring of Honor for the Colts. So again, father played in the league 13 plus years. Another kid who he started out with Stanford, followed his footsteps of his brother, went to Michigan, and he's a guy. This is very interesting prospect. I'm very high on the developmental piece. But I mean, guys like that lineage.
Yeah. I do like the lineage. I like the there's a very obvious. I feel like every Eagles draft has a theme. I mean, I remember years ago the infamous speed draft, and they just went for the fastest possible guys at every position. This to me was size and muscle, man. I mean, you look at the first few picks, and it was all about just violent, physical dudes, and then you look at the back end of this draft, and it's just big guys for the trenches. So a bunch of these guys that are depth pieces. This is going to be the most that we're talking about them but as we get closer, they could be competition. You never know who's going to excel at Stoutland University. That's what's nice.
I mean, I actually really like these picks. Like, I really feel like one of these guys is going to be our future swing tackle. I mean, Kendall Lamb only here for a year. What's his name? I know you called him a Jag.
I did.
This other guy, who was our swing tackle before that.
I know who you're talking about. Jack Driscoll.
His name started with J too, but I think one of these guys becomes our next Jack Driscoll or Fred. One of these guys. Yeah.
Fred Johnson.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
I'm cool with a Fred Johnson.
Stoutland's going to make somebody money. Yeah. Now, following Hinton, Cameron Williams, man, 6'5", 334. This guy's a big dude. The thing with him is, like, he was getting like second round buzz, just for his tool. He got a lot of strength, power. But I think this is what I was talking about during the pre-draft process if, in fact, they see him as a guard and they see him as like some Mekhi Becton light project. Like if they think they could turn him into a guard, like because on an island against twitchier guys, like he can get got. So I think if they like his ability inside better than outside, we'll see. He had a right knee injury, like his knee was like locking up. He couldn't get he had to get surgery. This is probably why he dropped so far in the draft. But what are your feelings about Cam?
I mean,
The boy definitely looks like he could put some work in, and nobody's going to get.
He looks like he can clog a hole, bro.
Yeah, my man look like my man off Green Mile.
I'm tired, boss.
But he was last year was a finalist for the Joe Moore Award. Started 15 games at right tackle, so he definitely he looked fine then.
He's definitely worked on. He needs to get worked on. The Jeff Statland University. Bad feet at times, but powerful hands. Violent.
Well, the thing is, he's got a lot of penalties. Like he's had a share.
He doesn't trust his feet. He doesn't trust his feet.
Well, we're talking about false starts too, man.
Discipline.
So a lot of I was up in some of the Texas chats and stuff, and they were like, "Man, this guy's a walking penalty." So if they can,
it's always him type of player.
Yeah, exactly. So
we got a Derek Barnett on offense.
potentially. Moving right along. This was interesting pick. I mean, the closing out the last pick in the 7th round. Antoine Powell-Ryland. It sounds like I'm gonna vote for Antoine Powell-Ryland. APR will probably be, but I think a lot of people had him going higher. But if you look at he has a record that he shared was like Bruce Smith as one of the only other Virginia Tech players to record multiple 4-sack games. He can get to the quarterback, but when it comes to like stopping the run consistently, he's got short arms. Like he'll probably be a designated pass rusher.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, but production though. I mean, you look at. I get that it's not the SEC script, but the production that he had. What was it? 30 sacks he had at Virginia Tech over his career. I mean, the dude got to the quarterback.
So all gas, no brakes.
Would love to see him refine his skills. I mean, you're getting the guy at the 209th pick, so to get that kind of production, I like the upside to it.
Yo, Tim, that's five cats that are at the age of 23. Are you still questioning that age?
You know what?
I counted them as we were going. That's 5 at the age of 23.
I mean, like I said, I think what Gail said, you can blame it a little bit on the COVID year, but you just look at the age and you're like, damn, like, you're going to finish out this contract while you're 27, 28.
Age shaming 23-year-olds.
Well, he was part of that season that his freshman year was shortened. It was ended up getting shortened because of the COVID. COVID sucks. I mean, there's some of these players you read in their profiles like, yo, some missed their whole senior year of football. Imagine playing in football and missing your whole season, bro. That would be tough. But that'd be tough. But
what I do like about this pick is Clint Hurtt gonna get him right. Clint Hurtt gonna get him right. Yeah,
size wise, he kind of fits like the
Patrick Johnson.
Actually Brandon Graham size, but I think Brandon Graham's a different type of beast against the run.
Brandon Graham is what, like 5'10"?
No, he's not. Brandon Graham ain't 5'10".
Yeah.
I don't think he's over 6 foot.
You want to bet money? You want to bet my stash on that?
Oh, here we go. Let's not go there, man. All right. Let's not go there, buddy.
6'2", bro. 6'2".
6'2"?
Yeah.
When I met him, I'm like, damn, you ain't that tall.
Yeah, he might have been shorter than you, but I mean, he was a slight bit taller than me. So yeah, he's in
but I'm
between you.
also over 6 foot, so I get it. Yeah,
Tim's 6'5" on a good day. And then be 6'2" on a like.
6'3", bro.
Half of the prospects that went to the combine, I don't know what happened with their measurements. They're all an inch shorter.
Oh, they always lie. They always lie on those.
Yeah, no, looking out for that inch.
Pause.
I didn't have to be like that.
You gotta get your mind out of the gutter there.
It's too late.
Ever think about the inch. Oh, but like we're talking about the NFL. The NFL's the one that actually did the measuring. So how can it go differently than the combine?
They be lying.
At the pro days?
They be lying sometimes.
I mean, the colleges be lying. You know what I mean? But I just think I think APR will be a very interesting. I think it'll be a fan favorite. It'll be like the Paul Turner of defensive line.
I would like who I just compared him to and Patrick Johnson. Like I view him in the same type of way where like Patrick Johnson's a guy that we drafted years ago, but has just stuck around. And even still, I think he got re-signed again this year, right? So I just view him as that, like a guy that we got with back end of day 3 pick and just continues to do enough to stick around, which is exactly what I want. You ball out on special teams. That's how you do that in that spot.
Yeah, no doubt.
Talking about balling out, UDFAs. There's not if you're
I'm excited for a few.
I mean, there's we're talking about UDFAs that have hit.
We haven't even got to the biggest offensive lineman yet. This shit is crazy, dude.
Oh yeah. Very, very interesting. Oh, we'll start with him. Shout out to Holland Pierce. 6'8".
What the hell is that? Is the Ninja Turtle?
This guy's built like he's there. And 341 is actually.
Is that the great Kali with shoulder pads on, bro?
At one point in his football career, he was over 400 pounds.
That's
I mean, he had a tough story. His mom had passed away when he was earlier, so he was dealing with a lot of depression. So he ate a lot. So the dude blew up to like over 400 pounds. But shout out to
bro's got 36-inch arms, bro. That's crazy.
That is something that
his arms are 3 foot apiece.
5'4",
bro. Shout out to my old offensive coordinator. He's now at Rutgers. So my former offensive coordinator is his offensive coordinator, Kirk Soraka. So I think the fact that he actually Rutgers was his dream school. So I think he's another guy that you bring in here and you work out and see what he has in the tank. The biggest red flag for him, he is a Cowboys fan. Off your list?
Cut.
Off the list. Off the list. Cut him. Go ahead and cut him.
I love Tyrese Maxey with my whole heart. He is a Cowboys.
He's a Cowboys fan?
He's a Cowboys man. He's from Texas, from down south.
Interesting. This prospect right here, UDFA. Well, I'll let you bring him in because Evan had him on his hit list.
Y'all said I was looking at Pantera when I said we were signing this guy. Max and Hook. Yeah. If we talk about themes and like kind of things that are commonalities in these draft picks, Toledo. What does that make you think of? I think that there was a lot of intel that came from players already on this team. I think each one of these players that are somebody on this team, so to speak, was asked, who's somebody from your school that you graduated with that you think that we should key an eye on? And Maxon Hook is a guy that I was looking at as a day 3 safety, another 23-year-old Tim, by the way.
Yeah.
Was a team captain last year, and just kind of flew around the field. Obviously, in a lesser team in Toledo, but like I said, I think that a lot of these players that were either UDFA or day 3 guys were leaned on by the recommendation of players on their squad already. So I think Quignon might have put a good word in.
And he's got 52 games played. He's got 43 games that he started in. I mean, he's a team captain. I mean, I think special teams ability. I think he's also I think he's Quignon's best friend.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's a nice little story. I think the other running back that
you gotta watch out though for that. You gotta watch out for that. You can't have 2 white guys fighting for a brother's love, man. You gotta watch out for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
There you go.
That still is not making sense to me.
How's it not making sense to you? Listen, my best friend.
Why are they fighting for his
Josh?
love?
Nah, my best friend Josh. Listen,
they got to get him flowers or something.
They got it's competition now. You know what I'm saying? That's my friend. No, that's my friend.
Tread lightly. You
gotta get it. Whoa, time out.
Make sure we leave. Make sure we leave the inches out. Okay.
Oh, you bugging. No, they gotta fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those dudes you come around. It's like, yo, who's this dude, man? Who's this dude? Why is he sitting in the front seat? Nah, you gotta get in the back seat, bro. That's my spot. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna be fighting for the spot. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I was thinking. I was like,
but anyways,
does
It's been a minute.
Does Q pick him up from the airport? Like, yo, let's go. I like that's his homie now. Like he's got someone to at least hang out with for the time being.
Bro,
if he makes
Cooper,
a squad.
Cooper, the Gene gonna be like, I sit in the front seat, man. I sit in the front seat, bro. Not you.
I'm going to Reed's house. I'm going to Reed's house anywhere.
Yep, that's exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. But again, you see all these safeties they're bringing in here.
Yeah,
just saying. We have Brandon Johnson. I know Mark Bird very excited about. He finally gets a Oregon Duck in here. Undersized man, 5'9", 179. A lot of 23-year-old prospects here. The other guy that I spent a lot of time checking out some of his tape yesterday. Go watch this kid. I want you to come back and let me know if you think this guy actually makes the roster. Because I gave him a follow on Twitter last night, followed me back. I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll get this guy in for an interview or something. But this kid, Shunderick, this most interesting name as well. I've never heard of Shunderick, but Shunderick Powell from Central Arkansas, 5'7", 183. Got some interesting runs, man. This kid is like jitterbug, like
averaged 8.2 yards a carry in his final season.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
He got some juice.
I wanted it, and then I saw he played
5'7".
5'7". Then he had some games against like Oklahoma State, bigger colleges, and he still did it. So I don't know where the Eagles are at in terms of where they think he could play some special teams. But
is this the Darren Sproles prototype that they've been after for years? The years since
Darren. Right.
Damn, I didn't think we were going to hear that shit ever again. Damn.
He's taller than Darren, though. He's taller than Darren. I think Darren was like, what, 5'4"?
But this kid, I was like, bro, I think you see the quality of the tape, like, this kid can't. And I'm like, God, I actually screamed. I was like, bro, he had this run that was sick. I was like, dude, he got some juice. He got a nice shifty jump cut. Check him out. Another running back we brought in here, Montreal Johnson from Florida. I wouldn't say he's, he's kind of a runner that you got to make sure you got to open up the lanes for him. I don't know if he can create like Shunderick, but he's a guy that He's got some juice, but on the outside he can break off some runs. So there goes your developmental running backs that the Eagles brought in. Another safety a linebacker from Toledo, Lance Dixon. It'll be this guy was he went to Penn State. I think where else did he go? He went to West Virginia. So then he's like, let me go to Toledo. That's how I'm gonna make it to the NFL.
It worked.
So I was watching a video of Toledo prospects as they were getting ready to watch the Super Bowl. And all of them were hyping up the Eagles, man. All of them love the Eagles.
They saw that dream come true with Quinyon last year.
All the Georgia Bulldogs, same thing. Love the Eagles. It's weird. It's a weird time to be alive. Moving right along, we have this is Taylor Morin. He could be a potential slot. He's crafty, got some nice hands. Not afraid of contact in the middle. Definitely interesting.
What else does he offer, Gail? Go ahead, you could say it.
I'm not going to say sneaky speed. I'm not going to say
no. I was going to say punt return ability because your man Britton Covey's still on the waiver wire there.
There you go. Yeah, man. I think
does his grandfather have a book?
No.
We got to look into this.
I don't think
we don't need to look into it.
I don't think he's caked up rich like the Coveys, man. Coveys are loaded. They don't need football. Speaking of defensive players, cornerback BJ Mays from Texas A&M. Another guy, I don't really have anything on BJ, but I think again they're bringing in. Go ahead.
I was gonna say he had more picks than he allowed touchdowns.
Okay.
He had 4 picks in his career. He allowed 2 touchdowns.
Not bad at all. And then we have one more wide receiver, Darius Cooper from Tarleton State. He's kind of a jump ball guy. He's coming here and compete with the back end guys. I think everybody is gunning for Johnny Wilson's spot.
You think Johnny Wilson's spot's who's in jeopardy or
Anais, Johnny Wilson, that those 5 and 6, everyone's gunning for that spot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think even guys on the street, there's some guys on the street that should be in here.
Vince Papale?
Stop.
Maybe.
What?
He said guys on the street. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Jaden Blue going to Dallas. What's your thoughts on that? Hated that personally.
What about the Donos and Ezeraku to Dallas too?
What about oh my god, what was this? Bond went to Dallas too.
Bond,
the wide receiver from Texas, Isaiah Bond.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he went to Texas
as a UDFA, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Bro, he had a domestic violence situation.
I did not see that until I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, I seen that. I said, "Oh, that's the reason why he was drafted." And impending charges.
Keith asks, "How do you feel about McCord from Syracuse? Will he bump off Tanner McKee in practice in camp?" No.
And it begins.
But if you're forced to give this,
right.
if you're forced to give this draft class and this draft a grade, I give
it an A-. Yeah,
I'm with you.
I give it an A-. I think that they ended up. I think that there's some decisions that I don't want to say was a full head scratcher, but I was left there sitting. Like the whole thing about trading up the 1 spot and giving up that 5th round pick. I think he could have honestly gotten without. I think Jihad would have fallen to 32 rather than 31.
But do you think that Do you think that Howie got fleeced and the Chiefs lied about another offer?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Also mentored by
Possibly.
Howie. I was wondering that too. I mean, on draft night,
I just thought that like I didn't see hit like the move up one spot didn't make much sense to me, and so I thought that we lost a little bit of value in giving up that 5th round pick, but it's not the end of the world because we got a player that I think is going to come in here day one and contribute. So I love that. I love Makuba. I love Ty Robinson. The first 3 picks in this draft, I think they absolutely knocked it out of the park, given the value and where they're picking. And then the rest of the draft, I think they got a lot of good developmental pieces and depth pieces. So I think that I think the rich got richer in this draft, and the Eagles are going to be just as dominant, if not more, next year. So looking forward to running it back.
So A minus.
A minus, yeah.
Prime, what you have?
I'm only going to say I'm at a B right now because I haven't gotten through the whole list. I've only gotten up to Mondin. I haven't really gotten past that 161 pick yet, so I still got some catching up to do. But as of right now, I'm at a B with just those top 5.
Tim, what did you have?
A minus.
I think just in terms of like if you're like when we were on the board and we were moving back, I think people had like other players in mind, and you're like, why do you keep moving back? There's guys right there. But again, I think if they had guys that they liked and the guys picked, then that's why I moved back.
Right.
What are our official draft picks for 2026 now? That's what I want to see.
We're up to 12 picks, 11, 12 picks.
A ton of
I say 2 of those get traded for potential players mid-season.
We got a 1, a 2, 3 3s, 2 4s, 4 5s, and a 7. Damn.
How many 2s we have?
2.
3
3
we got
2s.
1 1.
Okay.
1 2. No. We
Oh.
have 1 2. We have 1 1.
How many 3s? 3 3s. That's what it was.
3 3s. Okay.
There's 2 4th round picks, and then there's 4 5th round picks again. So
he says,
pretty crazy, man.
He says, I know I've been bugging you all about Tyler Warren, and now since he went to the Colts, you guys won't hear no more Goddard replace him from me. Laughing by myself. Thanks for
that's something we didn't talk about. I think is it safe to say Goddard? I think it's leaning that he's going to be here another year at this point.
At this point,
actually,
yeah.
I played a video that.
Can you play that again? Can you play it again?
It's a little long, but I mean, I was just going to say it, but Dave Spadaro before the draft, he was basically saying that if they were going to move up for a player, it would be Walter Nolan, and then at the end of it, he said, "Looks like we're not going to trade Dallas Goedert." Then when he was by himself, I was talking to him. He's just like, I was like, is that true? You know, like they're not going to do it. He's like, Laurie wants him back. They're going to try and work something out. So, and then when the draft happened, I'm like, Dallas Goedert's still here. It's a good sign that he stays, I guess.
I mean,
you're trying to lower the number, though.
Which is great. Like that. I was.
But did you listen to the interview though?
Pushing the. It sounded like they're not close to an agreement yet, but I think the fact that Howie Roseman seems discouraged in that, I think all that is saying is that he knows he's going to get beat down financially. He's going to have to pay Dallas more than he wants, but he'll be back, and that's all that matters to me. I don't care how much he gets paid.
What is he making? Like 12 this year?
Cap is at 14.
14.
I give him a 9 mil.
What do you think is a fair? Oh, okay, 9 million. Okay.
I think Dallas has earned more than that.
He's worth more than that.
Top 5? Is he still top 5?
You see the double stiff arm on the way to the Super Bowl? You see that?
Hey,
I feel you. I
I'm
feel
taking
That play itself might have earned him $2 million, an extra $2 million.
I'm taking $1 million for every game missed.
I mean, yeah.
Over
You know what? You should do
Yeah.
basically hit him with hey, hit him with a certain contractor because he's never healthy. Yeah,
He's gonna
Hey,
get that
disagree.
money from one of the other teams, though. Is the thing?
but
Is
we're
that
not going to
there's
get that
31
pick
other
we
teams
want.
out there. But who are we going to trot out there at tight end? We have a legitimate tight end in him.
Your son, and then
Your
we can
son,
get
and your
tickets.
son is
We can
faster
get
than
tickets.
Dallas Goddard.
I'm not saying that Calcaterra can't play. I'm saying that
You're going against
like
your
we
son.
like depth at these positions.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
doing
Calcaterra
it.
gets injured, then who? We don't have Goddard.
going against
Calcaterra
his
gets
son.
injured, then what?
You're
Let me go
going
get
against your son.
Gronkowski.
You're a terrible
He's-
father.
He's
You're a
not
terrible
going
father.
against. He's being realistic about his son.
It is. AJ, the fan club president for Goddard
Mhm.
said, "Put some respect, okay, on his name." Damn it.
He's got our respect, AJ. Don't worry about
No,
it.
he got our
Right
respect.
guy
love
says
him.
he played like a top 5 tight end in the playoffs.
Hey,
He sure did.
just go get us another one. Go get us another one.
Yeah.
But before we get out of here, I want to give a big shout out to Bud Light for holding down the tailgate for all these years. Shout out to Red Bull for giving us wings at our tailgate, and also Felly's Pizza, man. Go get some pizza, but also shout out to them for holding down the steak situation. Shout out to Lowski in the building. Shout out to 1675 Spirits. Shout out to Crafty Jawn. Make sure you go to craftyjawn.com to get yourself a chunky chain. And Jesse _ now Jesse Wines at Wines Creative. But say it with your chest before we get out of here. Prime, say it with your chest.
I don't really got nothing crazy. Besides, you Cowboy Giants fans all happy about the draft and thinking y'all going back to the Super Bowl. Cool. Enjoy your, you know what I mean? Enjoy your W, I guess. But other than that, I don't see nothing happening. But that's all I got.
Everyone else playing catch up, bro.
Facts.
You got to say it with your chest. Anyone else?
Oh, congratulations to the Commanders for actually getting a new stadium. Going to be in DC. So congratulations to you guys.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, they got approved yesterday. We're going to beat that ass there too.
Yeah, but I mean, do you really
Wait, is it
congratulate?
actually
All you did was just go back to your childhood neighborhood.
Is it going to be?
The
You're going to have a.
swamps.
It's
Is it gonna be a dome?
it's in DC like city limits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah.
Where the
They're
old
going back to
stadium is
RFK.
at?
They're going back
Yeah,
to RFK. Yeah.
It got a dome.
Swamp.
No.
That I don't think so.
Is it-
What?
hey,
Yeah. What type of work they're going to do to it? I can't tell you. All I'm just saying is they're going back to RFK.
Oh, so it's not even a new stadium. They're just going back to an old stadium.
They're just building off of the old stomping grounds. Though. So,
Yeah, but
What
what
a
Bleacher Report
poverty
said, they're
franchise.
basically. What Bleacher Report said, they're basically just going to remodel it, update it, obviously, and get some stuff going, and they're going back to DC. I was like, oh, okay, they're moving out of Maryland. Well,
And
they in
maybe
Maryland.
by that time they'll be back to being called the Deadskins again.
right? That's one
They
of the
need
worst
to leave that
stadiums
Commanders
ever.
below, bro.
That stadium is bad.
What the FedEx?
with
It's
the
terrible.
rust.
Oh, for sure.
It's terrible. Terrible. Last word, Primo.
I don't even just
I got one.
enjoy your week. See you guys on the next one. Go Birds.
What you got, Tim?
Want to say congratulations to my daughter for making it to state. So my birthday will be spent with 30 little screaming girls yelling cheer. Also, I think it's super corny. You got these cats, these young bulls, calling these prospects that are about to go into the league, making their day, their dreams come true, and y'all doing prank calls. Bro, like, come on, son, like that. That's so corny, B.
Don't bury the lead on that either. Who called?
We know who called was the Atlanta Falcons.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, it was
That's super
crazy.
corny.
It is, but I mean, he was on point. He told the guy to
He
choose.
was.
You're gonna be waiting a little bit longer.
Come on, son. I was trying to be real.
When you think about it, though, when you think about long term on this, right? Shador could have the last laugh, and when he sells this documentary to Netflix. He's gonna do like some whole damn documentary, and then we're gonna have a series on that. Like, you'll get your money back.
Can I just say I will say with my last word that, and I like to draw parallels, so maybe I'm seeing something that isn't there. The Shador Sanders to me feels like repeating history with Johnny Manziel. It's the giant circus coming to town, going to the Browns, mind you. And let me throw in the caveat that when you look back on it in hindsight, who was Johnny Manziel throwing the ball to in college? A future Hall of Famer in Mike Evans. I'm not saying that Johnny Manziel didn't have it. He obviously made insane, crazy plays in college, just like Shador did. But Shador also had Travis Hunter, who is being touted as one of the top guys coming out. There's a lot of parallels there. So I'm looking at this Shador thing, and I'm seeing Manziel 2.0.
Manziel was
I'll say.
I mean, nah, I ain't doing all that. But.
I'm just hey, you heard me say it. We'll see what happens.
I heard you loud and clear, Evan.
Manziel was a straight up drug addict by that time.
All right, man. I didn't. Did I say Shador's a drug addict, or did I say that I think that the situation?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that
blow
up a drug addict,
and he got drafted in the first round still.
I mean, the Heisman too, but just last word, just thinking about like one of my good homies, he's been mentored by Deion Sanders, and he's seen his growth from, like, you know, just as an NFL legend to like actually changing kind of like the game in college. So just to see that trajectory from where he was to Jackson State to Colorado, I think they did tremendous. That's like the fact that he made so much noise that it made other coaches uncomfortable, and he shook it up. I think the Sanders, they've done a lot, and now like I said during the draft day stream, they're selling Colorado Buffalo stuff at our local, at our stores and malls around here. What for what? There's I mean, they've done some big things, but that story's not going to go away, and I think we'll probably see a lot more about and hear a lot more about Shador. But I think it's going to be interesting. I think they should do another NFL show. I watch it. It'll be entertaining.
You're the reason why nobody wants it in Philadelphia, Gail.
Yeah. But I'm glad we're not dealing with it. I'm glad we're still Super Bowl champs. But shout out to everyone that showed up to the show over the last couple of days. We'll see you guys in the next one. As always, fly, Eagles, fly.
Go Birds.
Two time.